around you now.
What's up guys, Magic Matrix back again with another video, and today I've got a really awesome card trick to show you. For this trick you can see I'm using 7 cards, and I also have a piece of paper on the table which is my prediction. I will not touch it until the end of the trick. You can see it's right there. Now, today I'm going to be trying to influence you. I'll be trying to influence your mind to make certain choices so that a certain outcome in the end is the one that I want. So this is how we'll start. I'm going to point to 2 cards of my choice, just like this. Let's say I pick these 2. Now, you get to decide which one do we get rid of. This one right here, you're sure? You can change your mind? Oh, you changed your mind to this one? So we'll eliminate this card here. Now we're down to 6 cards. Now you'll do the same thing. You point to 2 cards. Let's say you point to this card and this card. Now I want to get rid of this card here. So that one's gone. Now we're down to 5. Now I do the same thing again. I point to 2 cards. I'll do these 2, and you can decide which one. Let's say you pick this one. You get rid of that. Now we're down to 4. You do the same thing. Pick 2 cards. Let's say you pick these 2. I'll get rid of this one. Now we're down to 3. Now we do it again. I'll pick these 2, and you want to get rid of this one. And then one more time, you put your fingers on 2 cards, and I want to get rid of this one. So now we're down to just 1 card on the table. And I think you can agree, all the choices were fair. You got to decide which cards you wanted to get rid of. You could have changed your mind. I made some decisions. I did not say anything to influence you. And we landed on the 8 of spades. Now, out of all 7 cards, the 8 of spades was chosen. My prediction is here. It's been sitting on the table since the beginning of the trick. My prediction is the 8 of spades. That is the trick, guys, and if you want to learn it, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, here's the tutorial for the trick that you just watched. This is a really fun trick, and it can be done with multiple numbers of cards. This trick uses a force known as the P.A.T.E.O Force, P.A.T.E.O standing for pick any 2, eliminate 1. Now, there's 2 things that can happen for this trick. You can either have an odd number of cards, or an even number of cards. If you have an even number of cards, let's say 6, you would have the spectator be the first one to select 2 cards, and then you would pick 1 card to eliminate. If you have an odd number of cards, like I have, 7, you will be the first one to pick the 2 cards, and have the spectator pick 1 to eliminate. So remember, even, spectator picks first, odd, you pick first. So in this case, because I have 7, I would go first. I've left all the cards face up so that you can see exactly what's going on. To start off with, you'll pick the card that you want to force on the spectator, in my case the 8 of spades. Then you'll take a piece of paper and write down 8 of spades on the paper. Place that face down on the table so the spectator can't see it, and you won't touch it until the end of the trick. Then set up your cards. I set up my 7 cards the same way that I had before, and my 8 of spades right here in the same position as in my performance. Now all you need to do is remember where the 8 of spades is. So now you'll begin by putting your finger on 2 cards for the spectator to choose from. Now there's a very important step when you're putting your fingers on the cards. Never put your finger on the card that you're trying to force on the spectator. So I should never be pointing on my 8 of spades. And the reason for that is, you're actually letting the spectator choose what card they want to get rid of. But if you have your finger, say, let's say the 8 of spades and the Jack of clubs, if they pick the card that is the 8 of spades, you have to get rid of it, and that would ruin the trick because that's the card you're forcing. So never put your finger on the 8 of spades. Always put it on 2 other cards. So let's say here I pick these 2 cards. The spectator chooses one, and they can change their mind because it does not matter. Let's say they pick the King of Diamonds. They get rid of it. Obviously the cards would be face down, they wouldn't know what they were, but it doesn't matter. Then, they put 2 fingers on the cards. Now it doesn't matter if they put their finger on the card you're trying to force, and this is why. Let's say they put their finger on the forced card 8 of spades and this card here. Now you get to decide which card you're eliminating. Now since you know that this card is the 8 of spades, you just pick the other card. So the 10 of clubs. You say you want to get rid of that one, you get rid of it. Then you do it again, you pick 2 cards. Let's say these 2. they can pick any one. Let's say they start off with this card, but they change their mind, they want to go with this one. That's totally fine. They get rid of that card. And so on. They put their fingers on two cards. Let's say they again put it on the 8 of spades and this card here, but you just pick this card because you know that's the 8 of spades. Then you do it one more time, obviously picking the two cards except for the force card, and they choose this card. And then they will end on the last two cards. They put their fingers on, and you just pick the only other card that isn't the forced card, and you'll always end up on the card that you're forcing, in this case the 8 of spades. Then you'll explain to the spectator that all their choices were free choices. You were trying to influence their mind the entire time, but you never actually said anything, and you think it worked because your prediction was the 8 of spades, or whatever card you chose. And they will be mind blown, because to them, it seems like all the choices that they made were free choices. How did you end up on this card? Now, regardless of whether you use an even amount of cards or an odd amount of cards, the spectator will always be the last one to put their fingers on the two cards, so it doesn't matter if you use even or odd. It doesn't really change the trick too much, except for the fact that if it's even, spectator goes first, and if it's odd, you go first. Either way, the spectator will always be the last one to put their fingers on the cards, and you'll always be able to force the cards you want on the spectator. Now, the reason I like this force so much is not only can it be used with any amount of cards, you can also use it in so many different magic tricks. This trick is a great trick just by itself, but it could also be used to maybe force a card and a spectator for another trick. Maybe you already have this card in mind to force on the spectator, so you place it on the table with a few other cards, and then you use this method to force that card on the spectator, but to them, it will seem like they got a completely free choice, and then you can move on with another trick using that card as the spectator's card. There's so many possibilities to use with this force, so I hope you enjoyed learning it, have fun using it in your magic tricks, or just performing it by itself, and I'll see you next time.